So you can see the output voltage is about 15.5, and it's only pulling an amp, so that's cool. But that's where we're at, and I'll crank the voltage up a little bit, put it at 20, get the flame a little bit hotter. But you can see it's real sensitive. When I move my hand closer, starts to detune it. Likewise, this cap here sort of detunes it a little also. I don't really want to mess with that too much, but that's about where it needs to be, I guess. I had to drop the voltage back down. That's weird. But this one does actually sort of pop out now by just brushing my finger across, and before trying to touch it directly with the metal was straight destroying it. But this is literally now my last MOSFET, so that's why I'm not really trying to push it to its limits, but just sort of note what my problems were and how I've seen to avoid it. Before, using the other variable capacitor, I was testing anywhere from 12 all the way down to 8 volts, and it seemed like all I had to do was take something like this to try to draw the arc out, and as soon as I touched the tip, I would see a nice little spark, like a hot little spark, and it would immediately, I would hear a little click. Maybe it was the plates discharging voltage between them, or it was the MOSFET itself, just the click of death, and I would immediately, just full throttle, MOSFET would be open, and that would be it. It was real frustrating because it would just happen before I even got a chance to do anything. As I start cranking the voltage up, I'm at 25 now. The current draw is not really going with it. It's not really bothering the current control yet. So bring it to about 30. Still only pulling about an amp. Yeah. But still, that's a hotter arc, but it's still not a super hot arc. It's not as hot as I had it before. But yeah, that right there is probably my pot setting that I need to leave it at. I just at the moment don't have a way to feed it more than about 30 volts, because pretty much all my supplies max out at about 30 volts at the moment, except the ZVS supply, which I'm not going to use for this. I mean, a decent little field. Yeah, that's not bad. 30 watts. About 30 watts or so is what that pulls. That's not bad. So long as you can get that damn capacitor size down. Not bad. Little flame there using this circuit if you use a coil about this size. But the way that circuit was, like I say, it was just, man, it was a MOSFET killer. Haven't had troubles with this one yet. Let me see if I can cut it back down from here. So now we're at 24 volts. So still not too much different there. You see the current has sort of gone up slightly as I've backed it down to about 20 volts, whereas as I go up higher, it starts to go down to just a little bit over an amp. At 30 volts, you can see backing it down, the current sort of starts rising a little bit. and I get back down to about 15. See, it's still sort of just barely there, and just barely see it at 12 volts, or 12.5 volts. So that's about 12 watts right there. And it starts to try to go out and about 10, 11 volts it went out. So about 15, 16 volts is a pretty good deal, I think. And then up in about 20, 21, 24 volts or so, it starts to get interesting.